hope you're having a great week, and I hope this makes it a little better. This week on the show, you're going to ride along with me from the incredibly comfortable and amazingly stylish Volkswagen ID.Buzz, which served as the mobile podcast studio at CEDIA Expo, CIX, this September in Denver, Colorado. CEDIA, Custom Electronics Design and Installation Association, is the global trade association for home technology professionals specializing in smart home automation, audiovisual, networking, and integrated systems. Its mission is to advance the home technology industry through education, certification, advocacy, and networking. Members include integrators, designers, manufacturers, and consultants who shape the connected environments we live and work in. CEDIA Expo is the industry's largest annual event for residential technology professionals, with hundreds of exhibitors, educational sessions, live demos, a global networking opportunity. It's where new ideas and innovations in smart home and AV integration take center stage. And the Commercial Integrator Expo, CIX, or simply CIX, is co-located within the CEDIA Expo. It focuses on commercial integration technologies, from conferencing and IT infrastructure to building automation and emerging AV solutions, bringing together commercial integrators, IT pros, designers, and tech managers. There was so much happening. This road trip was a blast, and I'm excited to share the conversations with you. You're going to love this. We've got Buzz Delano from Delano Associates and Delano News Advance, Eric Nikila from Selective Design, Joe Piccirilli from Rosewater Energy, Andre Matei from Robox Tools, Richard Charshan from Acoustic Smart Home Theater Interiors, Rushi Kumar, DMF Lighting, Ruslan Polinovsky, also from DMF Lighting. We cover so much on this episode. It's jam-packed, and if you're not familiar with CEDIA Expo, CIX, you will be after this. Part 1 of our 4-part series from CEDIA Expo and CIX 2025. And you're going to hear all about it right after this. If you've listened to the show for any amount of time, you've heard me say this, that the most important word in the design industry is service. Product is important, price is important, selection is important, but stellar service is the premier idea that can make all the difference in the success of a project, any project. How design professionals like you demand great service and your favorite brands in one place with expert, knowledgeable, and non-commission sales professionals. It's really important. It means that their only incentive is your satisfaction. Pacific Sales Kitchen and Home, a Best Buy company, has just that with over 60 years of experience in Southern California. Pacific Sales is your destination for exploration, advice, and inspiration. Now, you have the Pacific Sales Kitchen and Home team to help you and offer their Pro Rewards program, which is a trade program unlike any you have experienced before. Earn 3% in Best Buy gift cards, e-gift cards, or 2.5% in rewards checks for every qualified and delivered sale. In addition to special trade pricing, exclusive offers, access to exclusive special events, and so much more than I could possibly tell you about here. And the cherry on top is access to exclusive builder trade incentives from top brands and the stellar service, again, from a company that has been serving the industry for over 60 years. Terms and conditions apply to the Pro Rewards program and builder trade incentives. So visit a Pacific Sales expert at a showroom today for full details and to learn how you can unlock additional savings and benefits. Don't miss out on the opportunity to work with the best of the best. Visit Pacific Sales Kitchen and Home today and elevate your projects to new heights.
Hi, my name is Buzz Delano, and I'm with Delano News Advance, DelanoDNA.com.
Awesome. So this is awesome, to be perfectly honest with you. At CEDIA, the CEDIA Expo 2025 here in Denver, Colorado. I'm just setting the table for those who can't see. And by the way, check Instagram for the pictures, because by the time you see this, or hear this, it'll be over. We're inside the Volkswagen ID.Buzz.
Of all things.
With Buzz.
Yes, I was. Thank you so much for the invitation. And then when I found out it's going to be inside the Volkswagen Buzz, oh my gosh, what a coincidence. I mean, I've been blessed with this funny, quirky nickname since I was born. My parents decided I had to have a nickname, and somehow they came up with Buzz. And as I learned over all the years, they expected that I would be like a little kid name. No, I aspired into Buzz. And so in 2025, Volkswagen's got this killer vehicle, and it's the Buzz, and here we are. So that's just a neat little fun thing to be part of.
I love that, and I am so grateful to Emerald, to CEDIA, to all of the fine folks who have made this event come to life. This is a special event because the level of integration, the level of home technology, the level of performative functionality within a shelter space has grown exponentially. Do me a favor, let's back up a second. Give me the backstory, how you wound up where you are, and sort of your take on the industry as it stands right now, 2025.
Thanks. Well, since I mentioned my parents and blessing me with the nickname Buzz, I guess I'll go back in time. I really liked listening to music at home. And of course, I took my parents' stereo system apart many years ago. And they were dismayed by that, but they let me do it, and I put it back together. But I liked sound, and I liked loudspeakers, and so it kind of began then. And of course, I listened to FM radio, and I got into rock music and all that. And I worked at hi-fi stores back in the day, so I was always surrounded with music. That was like a personal hobby. There was a little bit of technology with it over the decades. And at a certain point, I found myself becoming aware of the custom home installation industry, as it was called then. Speakers in the ceiling and TVs built into wood cabinetry and things beginning to look better and be integrated into homes. And I was fascinated by that because it was about sound and video. It was about making it look better, making it, allegedly, in those days, easier to operate. And I went to work for some companies that made products in the industry, the successful companies, and I did well by being there, and hopefully I contributed. And I just really came to like this profession and this trade as it grew. And at a certain point, I thought what I really wanted to do was serve the industry, obviously with a business. I had the opportunity to form a lot of relationships around the world with the companies I worked with. And I realized that this business was growing, changing, evolving. And while it started out as being just audio and video, it became so much more exciting when control and automation and home theaters and lighting and everything has happened so fast. Number one, I wanted to be a part of it because I loved it. That's why a lot of us are in the trade. We really enjoy it. I've dedicated my professional career to being a part of it and moving it forward. And I've had the opportunity to work with some great companies. And I decided with the relationships I was able to form around the world and with different stakeholders in the profession, manufacturers, integrators, manufacturers representatives, distributors, international companies. I thought, I want to help companies grow. So I created my consultancy, Delano Associates, focusing on this channel, but focusing on business and strategy, how to make their businesses better, help new business come into the channel, businesses form, companies grow new initiatives, things like that. So I like the business side of the trade, but it keeps me connected with the technology and the design, which is kind of cool.
Okay, silly question, pedestrian question.
Yeah.
Who is your primary client? Are you working with architects, designers, homeowners, and all of the above? And if so, in what order?
Well, actually, through my consultancy, and that's Delano Associates, most of my consulting work has been business advisory and brand positioning and sales development, has generally been with the manufacturers of product, some with the integrators, some with distributors. But because of that, I've formed a lot of relationships with the integrators. And now with Delano News Advance, while all those other groups will be part of it, the integrators are a bit more of my focus now for communications and interviews and helping them learn from each other to promote the trade. So that's where Delano News Advance comes in. That's where my focus meets with integrators and eventually with the design community.
I ask because I feel like there is a huge opportunity for integrators to be and brands for that matter, to be working more closely with, yes, architects, but also interior designers. And I want to drill down on that a little bit if we can, but before I do, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being most, 1 being least, what would you say the level of industrial IQ on the part of the homeowners and next designers and next architects and next, I mean, integrators obviously know the industry, but architects, designers, homeowners, what is the level of understanding in industrial IQ that you think they have for what you do and what this industry is?
It varies a lot. The integrators have the highest knowledge of it because they're closest to all the variety of technology, and yet they have to interact with homeowners in the sale process and making it work with other trades. The design community, is still evolving, but it's moving fast, and there's a lot of initiatives across the industry. The architects are very important, but at the same time, candidly, those trades, those professions, the designers, the architects, they're not as aware of us as they really should be. It's coming along, but most of that work to build those relationships falls on the smart home professionals, the integrators, and that's great. A number of them get it and understand how the design and architecture community works, and that's great. But we need to put more effort into that. We need to have better understanding of what's really important to the design community versus what's important to, if you will, the home technology community. It continues to come together, but that's one of the reasons I want Delano News Advance to exist, is to help unify that a little bit as well. So the level of understanding is improving in all areas, but we're not done with that yet. We've got to keep moving it forward and building new relationships so that everybody can realize the value of this profession.
And it's interesting too, just for my own edification, prior to coming here, I reached out to 25 designers, just folks that have been on the show that I know,
yes,
and just said, asked them if they were coming. 0 for 25.
Okay.
And for me, that was glaring. There are a number of shows, a lot of shows, and it's great that do FF&E. There's a lot of shows that are just furnishings. There are a lot of shows that are appliances. None as exceptional to me as KBIZ through the NKBA and the International Builder Show. But there's a lot of shows and a lot of opportunities. It feels to me like this is an opportunity, a business opportunity lost specifically for the design community.
It is, because their clients, while they're working with the aesthetic and the comfort and the experience design for the home, technology is a part of it. The homeowner at any given level expects it, and it's going to continue to increase as younger people begin to buy homes that have grown up with technology. So it's very important for the designers to become aware of the opportunity and understand the value of it, and of course along the way to find the right balance of working relationship, service and support and respect relationships between the design community and, if you will, the smart home community. It's really important. The fact that you got an 0 for 25 and 1 hit, it's too bad, but quite honestly, I'm not terribly surprised by it. It just shows that we need to continue to promote the smart home profession, whether it's CEDIA, the association, CEDIA Expo, everybody that's here. I'm trying to do my little part with it because, like I said earlier, I dig this business. I really care about it, and I like things that look nice. Who doesn't? I like things that sound great. Well, who doesn't? I like things that look great to watch. So there's work to be done, but being in it as long as I have been, I see progress with the design community. I see progress with our professionals.
And you had mentioned your work with manufacturers.
Yes.
Something that was new to me, really, and it was fascinating to listen to last night at the town hall.
Yeah, that was a good session.
It really was. And this idea that manufacturers of let's take appliances, for example, right? But other categories as well, that they will have an application, they'll have an app.
Right.
And the app is unique to their appliance. It's offered over the cloud, and so it doesn't really offer integrators the opportunity or the tools to do what they do best.
Why do you think that's the case? I'm sorry.
Why is that the case? I think that if integrators have an opportunity to make something seamless and to speak in an agnostic way, in a completely, so you don't have the Tower of Babel principle, right? Where you have all of these different languages speaking to and against one another. But if you actually had them all speaking, which I don't know that that's a fair expectation.
Maybe it is. Well, I think what that touches on is there's still not enough understanding of the value of the designer to the community of smart homes, and vice versa. We need to continue to work on that. When it comes to the technology, perhaps a gap is we are so technology focused in the smart home profession. You're within CEDIA. Maybe we need to learn how to communicate about what we do in less of a technical manner and more of a comfort and experience and convenience manner. And maybe that would help the designer community to understand a bit more and be more willing. The culture, the community language may need to change a little bit. But when it comes to applications and all that, there are still some things in our industry that are not standard yet. So perhaps that's why some applications for a certain feature, a certain convenience in the home of a smart home may not play with another one. The interoperability might not be there yet. But of course, technology evolves so fast, and as that will probably get corrected is my expectation. It's hard for me to think back to specifics, but 5 and 10 years ago, when apps became commonplace, when the mobile phone era, the smartphone era came on, there were a lot of things that didn't even come close to our trade, and now most of them do. The lighting companies have all got apps that control. So it's evolving, it's getting better, and the more simple that becomes, and the more dependable, I think that'll be important to the design community as well. So if we can communicate from the smart home business that yes, there's a lot of complexity in all of the gear and all the setup for this, but in the end it's so reliable and robust that the end user experience is just a tap or two and the lights change. Your scene, your mood changes, the music changes, the fire pit can go on or off, the towels can warm up in a drawer in the kitchen or the bath or something like that. That's where it's headed. We're definitely in the right direction, but there's a lot of relationship and communication, I think, is still necessary.
Eric Nikila from Toronto, company Selective Design. We're a distribution company that specializes in bringing products from Europe, Canada, into the US and Canadian market.
So we are here at CEDIA Expo 2025 in the Volkswagen ID.Buzz, which I gotta tell you, I'm a little geeked out about this. I love this.
It is awesome. I mean, EVs is where the world is going, and it's so fun to see companies coming out with creative ways of getting people excited, and this is the perfect example of it.
Yeah, I love this. Do me a favor, let's back up a second. Tell me your opinion, your take, state of the industry.
Well, I think the industry's, evolved so much. I've been involved with it for, the other day I was counting it up and I was like, wow, over 25 years. And over the last 25 years, it feels like we're coming around in a full circle. We used to call it custom installations, and I think that's where it's at again. We went through this phase where it was just, let's hang some LCD TVs, plasma TVs on the walls, but now I think it's going right back to custom integration. So I don't think it's custom installation, which it ends up being, but it's more about integrating technology into the smart home. And that's exciting to me because it's almost like I've lived through it when it was at the infancy, and now it's maturing again. It goes around in a circle. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the next few years as companies adapt to people's needs with their design-oriented requests. And that's where we really positioned ourselves as Selective Design to be in that position to show clients that they can do something really beautiful while having good performance too.
So are you on the client side?
We're a manufacturer representing manufacturers as well.
Okay. So you're primarily on the manufacturer side working with integrators and clients.
That's right. So we'll go into working with dealers who are looking for something that's cool to bring into their projects, but we also attract interior designers, architects, builders, and then we connect them with the right dealers who are able to deliver the right systems.
This is a pedestrian question. and it's not based to target anybody in particular. But I've heard a couple things, and I want your take on this, that the Europeans are doing a magnificent job with regard to integration.
They are. They've taken a different approach than I think here in North America. That's what I've seen over the years is, in North America we like to make things big and loud and, spectacular. But in doing so, it's often at the compromise of the design and what people are looking for in their homes. And in Europe, because they live in smaller spaces, they aren't in such a disposable type of economy, which I think we have learned to have. But I think that's changing, it's shifting as well. People are looking for solutions that will endure for a longer period of time. So I think that European influence is really coming now, at least to the high end of the market, where people are more design oriented. So that's my take on how the Europeans are really influencing now the North American market too. I think it's coming around.
What are you seeing now that has you excited, that maybe you hadn't even seen 2 years ago?
That's a tough one. I feel like I've seen it all, but I try and pick people's brains all the time about what's exciting. And
is it that it's not necessarily new, but different? I'll give you an example.
Sure.
And we've been talking about this a great deal at the show this year, is lighting. The idea of lighting, when you have something as, it's not simple, but 8-10 years ago, incandescent was what you had to work with. Cut to CFLs. Ugh.
What a disaster that was.
Oh, gosh. Well, you couldn't do anything with it.
Right, yeah.
Then you had a better CFL. Then you had LED. But you had on-off LED. Then it just completely binary. Then you have what we have now, which what it does, the tools that it provides manufacturers, provides integrators, provides design teams to do things down to the nuanced level of colors and hues that are complementary to the furnishings and wall colors.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So what's really attracted me to lighting is, I think our industry, when they first started and they tried, everybody was excited about the LED strip lights, and I didn't understand why they were putting them under every nook and cranny and then, doing disco lights with them. But I think that's now evolved too. I think we're past that baby stage of lighting where they're thinking further now and looking at artwork and how the light works with furnishing and the different colors and architectural details in homes, and that is exciting. So I think the lighting fixtures that integrators are now being introduced to is definitely evolved, and I've been impressed by how they're able to narrow in that light beam so that it gives spark to a specific beautiful piece of art, for instance, in the home. And even on our side for speakers, we have speakers that have lights built into them now. So every project that goes out with a company we work with called Arquitectura Sonora, they have an LED strip that's part of the speaker itself, which is really a beautiful sculpture used in outdoors and as well as indoors. And you can have lighting in there too. It's not your main lighting, but it's, again, an accent and allows for a nice pathway lighting. And yeah, that is an exciting part. The lighting side, I think, is true. It's something that's new in our industry, and I'm glad that the integrators are learning more about how to do it well.
Hi, I'm Joe Piccirilli, CEO and founder of Rosewater Energy. Rosewater is an interesting business for me because I have been in this industry for 52 years. I dropped out of engineering school. I was working on a master's degree in engineering years and years ago to start a stereo company, and as you might imagine, my parents were incredibly upset. But I started a company called Sound Advice in South Florida, and I was able to build it large enough where I took it public in the 80s and retired, which was terrific. But I was bored in 3 months, and I found an opportunity to build a distribution company. It was called Avid, and Avid became infamous within the industry. But we distributed Crestron and Lutron, and what I noticed during my Avid days is customers hated it. It always broke. I live with an installer or a programmer. In fact, I'm building him a room in my house. It always malfunctions on the day I need it. So I'm going, why? My first thought as an engineer was to take it off our shelves. I took it apart. Build quality, parts quality. I wanted to inspect it. Those two product lines are built incredibly well. And because at that point I had 30 warehouses around the United States, I could do a qualitative analysis of installations. And because those products are very well documented, the installations for the most part were quite good. So for me, that narrowed the problem down to power. And it was power that was causing the malfunction of the microprocessors in those devices. So in 2008, I began the quest to build the most complete energy resilience solution available for residential use at the panel level. And that's how Rosewater was formed. I had no price point in mind. I was going to build the most complete product and the highest quality product. No holds barred, let's have at it. It took me 4 years to find a manufacturer and to design and develop the product. And the Rosewater Hub series are the result of that. So that's our story.
I love that. There's so much here I want to drill down on.
Go for it.
So I'm going to make the assumption that you were studying electrical engineering.
That would not be correct.
Mechanical.
No. I'm an Italian kid. I was getting a master's degree in civil engineering because I was going to be a contractor, because that's what Italians do.
Do you know of all disciplines, that would have been my absolute last compared to where you are and what you're doing now?
I would agree with you. It should be your last choice.
Where did you go?
University of Michigan.
Okay. So I have a CPE in the family.
Yes.
And I had a chance to witness firsthand what one goes through during the course of an engineering degree. And I'm going to say something that I think most, maybe all, would not agree with, and that is, you don't need a degree if you know where you want to go, or you have an idea that entrepreneurship. I think an engineering education provides an amazing primer for someone who wants to go into entrepreneurship.
I couldn't agree more. In fact, I have been advocating that there should be offered a minor in engineering for everyone. Quite honestly, I was never going to be an engineer. I started in engineering school because math and science came really easy to me, which I know is counterintuitive, but I could skate through engineering school. But the basic knowledge of science, all of the sciences, because we had to study every field in engineering, the disciplined way we are taught to think, the processes, is invaluable to me. And as someone who has always been an entrepreneur, I can't think of a better education. There is nothing I would change. I might have paid a little more attention in college than I did at the time, but it was the 60s, I was having some fun. So
I hope you are having some fun. But what's interesting is, had you gone in the direction of the degree, you wouldn't be doing what you're doing now.
Absolutely not. Where
did you notice, and when did you notice the need? And I recognize the brand story, Crestron and Lutron, but that idea to make the connection between point of failure and cause of failure, that's a large chasm. That can encompass a lot of different things.
I would agree, but again, my training from school was to, okay, here's a problem, how do we find a solution? Well, first thing is, let's be clear on the cause. So you start to look for causality, and as you eliminate the obvious, well, is it a crappy product? Well, that's no. Is it crappy installation? Well, that wasn't the case. So it narrows the variables. And when it came down to this is power, and you begin to research the grid, because the grid itself cannot, even under ideal circumstances, produce constant voltage. It can't, because it can't anticipate load. So when everybody's air conditioners turns on unexpectedly, the grid sags. There's no way around it. And what is interesting, as I researched the problem, because everybody talks about spikes and lightning and surge, God forbid, that happens, it destroys all our gear. That is not the case. The biggest culprit is sags. And what happens when the voltage sags, your lights dim in New York, they call it a brownout. But because of the nature of power measured in watts, if it sags, the device being powered takes more current. Current generates heat. Microprocessors hate heat. And in fact, one of the most difficult engineering problems in microprocessors as they miniaturize them is how do you dissipate heat? So it is LED bulbs, which are supposed to last forever and a day and don't. It's because of sags. They overheat. That beautiful microprocessor in your Wolf cooktop is destroyed because of sags, or has to be rebooted. And think about it, today there is not a room in your house that does not contain a microprocessor. So for this channel, it is a way to broaden your importance in the overall build, because power is foundational now. And it's not just power to the house, it's the quality of power to the house. And that's really what we do well. I mean, when I talk about a complete solution, typically things that regulate voltage, that create perfect power, have no battery backup. Their battery backup time is measured in minutes. I said that's not enough. So mine is measured in hours and days. People talk about the ability to have a renewable to increase the life of your battery. And generally you have to go out and kludge that into a system. A Rosewater device, you can hook solar directly to it. DC, because that's what solar panels actually produce. And it will keep the batteries charged, and if the batteries are fully charged, it will feed the load. So it never goes to waste.
So my name's Andre Mattei. I'm with Robox. I'm actually one of the co-founders. And here from Vancouver, Canada, West Coast. First time here. And Robox is a technology company. However, we're building tools. Tools that customers in the AV space use, tools that customers in the building space use. And these tools are a lineup of some of the first smart digital power tools. So tools that are equipped with smart technology, touchscreens, and all the IoT connected devices of today.
Like what?
Good question. So I'll give you a little bit of an explainer. I actually brought one here with me. So our smart drill, it's the first ever drill with a touchscreen on it and with lasers. So what this drill does is it allows you to take measurements on the fly. It allows you to drill holes at a specific depth, and the drill automatically stops for you. It guides you to specific angles. If you need to drill, let's say to a 25-degree angle or a 35-degree angle, the drill will actually guide you to those angles without having to use different accessories or jigs or whatever it may be. And that's just the beginning of it. There's customization options. The drill tells you how fast you need to be running it. If you're, say, drilling in like a stainless steel or a tile or some foreign material, where if we're being real, a lot of people just hit the trigger and they pray something doesn't break. And we're kind of here to solve some of those issues.
Okay, what else? Because now I'm fascinated.
I like to hear that. So we also have a measuring system. It uses the very same technology that we're using for the drill, but for measuring applications. And this is one of the reasons why we're here today, is a lot of our customer base uses this tool. And this tool, again, is a integration of multiple tools in digital leveling, stud detection, and laser level applications, all built into one compact device that literally fits in your pocket. And again, like the drill, this has many different smart features, things like locating center points between two surfaces in just a few seconds. So traditionally how it's done now is you would take a measurement, take another measurement, divide by half, do a bunch of math, mark up the walls. This one just basically pull it out, hit a button, move where it tells you to, and you can actually make a mark with the device itself. There's a little pin that pops out of it. So it replaces essentially everything you would need into one compact device.
That's not fair.
I mean, we're trying to make your life easier and save you money at the end of the day.
So in all seriousness, talk to me about the conversations with integrators and explaining the product. And you get, I love it. I've seen so many old school integrators here. I love these guys. They're great. Like, no, I don't need that. I do this. And I've been doing it for 30 years.
Right.
What's the retort?
I mean, I would say the good thing about those conversations is that I've dealt with them before. I deal with tool guys on a daily basis, and I don't know if you're too familiar with tools or the tool space, but it's essentially like a cult. You know, you're either a red guy or a yellow guy or a blue guy. So, you know, I'm used to people coming up to me and saying, I've been doing this for 30 years. Why the hell do I need a touchscreen on my tool? But the essence is in the demonstrations. The essence is in showing them the use cases and showing them those time-saving options. And when they see this, their jaws drop. It's like, wow, what the hell? Do that again. And these are the conversations that I've been having today, is just showing the real capabilities, the real use cases of our tools, and showing them how it's going to benefit them at the end of the day. And I think that's the most important thing in these conversations, is applying these different tools to their craft, to how they work on a daily basis, and showing them the true value. And that's what's worked for me in the past. That's what's working today. And it's been great conversation all around.
At the highest level of design, the absolute best specifying designers, architects, landscape designers are all highly focused on the technology and performance of products and materials today. You have to, because the products you specify for your projects have to perform and they have to last. That's one of the reasons why I am so proud to be working with TimberTech. Their focus on the technical renaissance of synthetic decking is literally changing the conversation about innovation and performance. It pulls focus on 3 priorities homeowners have and expect from the products their designers and architects specify for their luxury projects. 1, aesthetics must match the overall design and fit visually. 2, durability and maintenance. I've told you about my board flipping stories from my own wood decks. Clients not only want beauty, but they want ease of use, and they want it to last for decades. 3, sustainably made. Clients are more conscious of the environment now, and they want the same of their materials. TimberTech hits each one of these elements with a product that not only meets expectations, they exceed them. TimberTech makes a synthetic decking that looks just like wood, color and embossed wood grain for a natural appearance. Their composite decking is technologically superior, as it has been created to last for decades, and it's manufactured with up to 85% recycled material. Their advanced PVC, vintage, and landmark collections have a Class A flame spread rating, making these products an amazing choice for wildfire-prone areas, which unfortunately continues to grow on the risk map. Check the show notes for more information about this and to find the nearest showroom or lumberyard where you can find TimberTech, or you can check them out directly, timbertech.com. I am absolutely thrilled to welcome a new sponsor to the program. First of all, because I love new sponsors to the program, but also because this one is something that each and every one of you has been looking for. Loam AI is a company that has its roots in technology and engineering with a passion for high-quality content development. Listen, designers, architects, landscape architects, shelter industry brands, you know that time is the one thing we can't create, right? So how would you like the power of AI in content development programming that allows you to design instead of editing videos, scripting, and writing your content for social media? Loam AI was created by a team of engineers with a passion for creative content development. This is text to video, so you describe it and Loam AI creates it. It's really amazing. You're going to have to check this out. And they make it simple to change content sizes for different social media outlets. How tired are you of trying to resize the content that you create? Or send it out to a freelancer and keep getting the recharges because it has to be put in different sizes. It's a pain, and Loam AI fixes that. It's easy to use, has US-based support if you need it. Let me rephrase. The support is here in the United States if you need it. Stunning images, realistic voices, built-in captions, and it's simple to use. Sign up and try it for free without a credit card at loam-ai.com. I'll say that again, LOME-AI.com. Simple, inexpensive, text to video, harnessing the power of AI to grow your firm beautifully.
My company is Acoustic Smart Home Theater Interiors, and we specialize in doing private cinemas all over the world, all over the country. And we started close to 30 years ago. And our mission here at CEDIA is to spread home theater and to spread the passion of home theater and to get more people to see that home theater is not just a fad, it's something real, and it's something that's really spreading across the country right now.
Richard.
Yeah.
Last name is?
Charshan.
Spell that for me.
It's a tough one. It's Charschan.
Okay, perfect. And you just finished, so you're doing a book signing. Was this your second book?
No, we only have one book. It's our second year.
Okay.
Doing it. We started last summer, and this year's a little rough because the editor of the book, he passed away about 2 months ago. So we're trying to carry on his legacy, and the book was a 4-year project. It was a pretty brutal undertaking, but the results and what it's done already for the industry and for my dealers and for people around the country has been like amazing. We have people who are selling theaters that they've never been able to sell before. They're giving books to architects, interior designers, and they're learning more about how to prep to talk to homeowners more intelligently, so that they can talk to them about acoustics and how to do a theater correctly and what to expect when they're building a theater.
It is absolutely amazing that the home theater is not a new concept.
Yeah.
But it feels new in a post-pandemic environment.
So this is my my entire career has been like a real uphill battle. It's been hot. It's been a fad. It's been, theaters are great again. Now they're back. Now they're not back, and it's just so frustrating. It's always been there, And my whole thing is that, now because of influencers and people like you and everybody is aware of it. And I think through COVID and through streaming, they realized that the custom theater can be like the new custom kitchen, where people gather around and they chill out and they see family events. Like my wife, when the Handmaid's Tale came out, she would have like Handmaid's Tale week, and people and the girls would come out, and then they would do like a Handmaid's Tale night, and it was really cool.
What I think is so fascinating about it is, and again, kind of going back to this idea, and I want to correct you. You didn't say anything wrong, but
yeah.
I am not an influencer,
right.
and I say that.
I wasn't talking to you. I was just talking.
No. I understand that, but I think it's interesting because when it comes to things like a home theater,
yeah.
you will get the quote-unquote influencer,
right.
who will post on social media, look how great this is, look how wonderful this is.
Yeah.
But the thing that you don't get is A, they most likely don't know what they're talking about.
Right.
Because they're not educated on the subject.
Correct.
And B, you're not there to see it, hear it, feel it, enjoy it, experience it. Experience is the primary driver.
Yeah, but what it is, but with the influencers, they're sharing their passion, so whatever it is, and that's enough to get people excited because they're like, well, I can do this too. So whether you're doing a home theater in a box or just something, it's spreading the word that home theater is now a valuable part of the house. And that's what I've been saying for years and years. And what I've realized and what I've seen with my, with my whole, the whole career, is that I'll go to some places, like I'll go to like Dallas, and they're doing theaters there, but then you go to Houston, they're not putting any theaters in any of their houses, and then not even putting it on the drawings. Why is that? I have no idea. But it's just, it was like in pockets of the country, and now we're starting to see it all over again, where we didn't see that before. It's very interesting, and it's very strange, but it's always been a passion of mine, and when I did my first theater, it was like all this hocus pocus, all this mystery, like, what is this acoustic stuff? I don't need this. What do I, I'm doing fine. What do I need you for? And I had to bring these people into this poor woman who I did a house for. I had to bring them to the one house so they can understand what acoustics was and what the difference was. I must have brought like 30 people there because really nobody knew what to do, It was like so on in the early stages, and even when I would call up AV dealers back in the day, that's when you can actually call people. Now you can't cold call anybody. They think you're selling insurance, but it was like, oh, we're doing just fine. Our theaters sound good, and then all I had to do was one room and put acoustic treatment in there. Was like, oh my God! Now it's like, what a difference! Like, you hear the imaging, you hear the train go from left to right. I have clients that are rock stars who are pretty much deaf, and they can't even watch the news without cranking it up and their wife telling them to lower it, and then they can't even enjoy watching the news when they come home. So we put acoustic treatment in their houses so they can actually hear it more intelligently,
So I think too, that there is so much more that goes into it, and it's funny because we're here at CEDIA Expo 2025 in Denver. It's a gorgeous day. It's an incredible show, and you're amongst your peers. So the conversations that you're having are these peer-to-peer. You're talking to integrators. You're talking to people who are in the industry and know the difference. I think what's interesting, and this has been a theme that's kind of come up in the conversations that we've had here, is there is a Tower of Babel effect. There's a disconnect in the language and how it's articulated, specifically homeowners, interior designers,
correct,
landscape architects, the ones, builders, developers, the ones who are having the conversation with the homeowners, the people who are not here. And it's interesting because that's who I want to talk to for a minute.
So that's my speech. You pretty much just hit the nail on the head. So the reason why I came out with the book was because I was going into job meetings and we had 3 rows of seats, and the interior designer and the architect are putting in a 100-inch TV. That, it's like a knife in my soul. And I was ready to like jump out the window, but I was on the first floor, so nothing was going to happen. So I said we need to educate these architects and interior designers because there's a disconnect and a big one. And what happens is, all the audio dealers that I work with who are like family to me, they have to start from scratch every time they do a job. And they have to explain, no, we can't do that. We have to do it the right way. And there's sight lines and there's all these things that need to be taken into account. And it's just, it's grueling and it's very, it's just very draining. So the idea was to create a book. So the AV dealers, by selling this book, they're paying for us giving books to interior designers and architects around the country so they can learn how to do home theaters right on a very basic level. It's not a how-to book at all, but enough so that we don't have to start from scratch again. That's really what it's all about. And then hopefully now they go into the meeting, the client has a book, the interior designer has a book. Oh, okay. Yeah, a 100-inch TV is not going to work here, and now I understand why. And I know the difference between a couch, and having a theater seat and all the different things that go into it, the difference between an LED wall and a projector and a screen. We talk about all that stuff. And why is it important to audio calibration and video calibration? Why are all these things so important? So I just wanted to get into that.
Okay, my name is Rashi Kumar. I'm with DMF Lighting. I am the Vice President of Engineering, and we are based in California. So DMF manufactures high-performance LED lighting solutions. And this channel, the CI channel, has been a major focus for us, and we're really kind of loving the show so far.
Tell me about your journey in engineering.
So my journey in engineering started 25 years ago. I had no intention, and I actually moved from the UK for a job with Lutron. So I worked for Lutron in Pennsylvania for 8 years, and then moved on to Crestron for 12 years, and then finally took a leap and moved out to California with DMF, and have been there for 6 years.
Go back further than Lutron.
Further than Lutron? So I got into engineering as an electrical engineer kind of just from an early age, loved tinkering, loved making products, loved pulling apart whatever toys I had in order to get a motor to spin. And that's really what led me down to kind of making products.
And I ask because I have a CPE in the family, and witnessing the engineering process and the journey, which is different for everyone. I was speaking with a CEO of a company yesterday who's an engineer, and I made the assumption because he has a power company, that he was an EE. He was not. He went to school as a civil engineer, which I thought was interesting because his intent was to go into construction. The reason I think it's so fascinating is because I think it is in the design and architecture community, down to the specifier to the homeowner. I think the engineering is often a lost element that is so incredibly important, because what engineers go through during the education process is this rewiring, no pun intended, but it is a rewiring of the brain and challenging the way that you think. And I'm going to sort of go out on a limb and say that challenging the way that you think about electrical engineering and what lighting can be, that seems to me is like part of the journey, and I'm just curious how that's affected the way that you approach the product design.
For sure. As an engineer, you're always thinking about, why is something done a certain way? Why can't we do it better? Why can't we make it smaller? Why can't we just solve these problems? So you basically end up working on things that other people think are trivial, but you know that this is not trivial. There's actually something to it. You can just get past this problem, solve it, and then the key to, I guess, being a good engineer is knowing how to convert that into something that's useful, right? So actually make a product that people want, that people like, versus a piece of technology that's cool but serves no purpose.
Ruslan Polinovsky, Senior Director of Marketing at DMF Lighting. So I run all of our marketing initiatives at DMF.
Love it. So we were talking a little bit about the engineering side, and this is a treat for me. It really is, to be able to have the he said conversation where we talk about engineering and the product side and dive deep into the how and the why. And then with you, we get to talk about where the rubber meets the road, right? With the specifiers and the homeowners, and getting the word out and creating opportunities.
Sure.
For the design and architecture community to specify. So what is the education process specifically as it relates to the trade?
Well, I think it's about learning all the resources that are out there for them, and those resources are bountiful. It's manufacturers, it's the integrators, it's the lighting design community, it's their own internal trade groups.
But what does that look like? So, for example, and I mentioned this before, that there are not a lot of interior designers here, and it's not a. I'm not casting an assumption that they don't want to be here. I think that, when you look at trying to plan for trade shows and events and where you want to be and when, you have to take into account where time is best spent. And when it comes to integration, audio, video, lighting, that sort of thing, I think the design community feels like sometimes the conversation is a bit over their head. And so it's not about dumbing it down, it's about refocusing the education process so that you can engage meaningfully with the specifiers, so that they can then explain the opportunities to the homeowner, to the client. And lighting plans have gotten so intricate on the interior design side. It's fascinating to watch what they're doing. And so from a product side, how do you engage with designers, and what are the opportunities for them?
Sure. I think what we found is there's a really broad range of knowledge within the design community. Some of them are really experts. They know as much as some lighting designers, while others still think of lighting as they do the drywall. So we find we want to engage with the ones that are interested, because the ones that understand, they realize that their vision isn't going to be completed as they see it unless the lighting is done well as well. So you see more and more of those designers that are starting to understand, and they want to be a part of that.
I imagine this is a great place for you to be as well here at CEDIA Expo 2025 here in Denver. It's a phenomenal show this year, and I'm curious, what are the conversations that you're having this year, and what are you talking about that maybe you weren't talking about even last year?
I think it's the more choices that everyone has to come up with the solutions. So whether right now DMF has Phase X, which is DMX over Romex, it allows for a lot of new applications, individual fixture control, tunable white light, all over Romex. So you could do retrofit applications to where you're taking an old 20-year-old panel and it needs replacement. You can invest that money and give them the exact same lighting that is currently in the house, but that's a tough sell to the homeowner. Or you could transform that into a digital lighting package, which gives them the tunable white, individual fixture control, and that's a much better experience for everyone.
The Design Hardware Showroom is a space where specifiers can go and find an incredible selection of high-end faucets, luxury tile, natural stone, wood floors, and bespoke hardware, and so much more. Select products are presented in a holistic manner, strategically arranged to stimulate creativity and transition your vision from the conceptual stage to a fully realized space. You will find everything you're looking for, even the products by brands you didn't know you didn't know. Surprise and delight. Am I right? All under one roof on 3rd Street in Los Angeles, just up the street from the Grove. Conveniently located, free parking available. Stop by to find inspiration, collect samples, get expert advice, and tackle everything on your specification list all in one place. Visit them online at designhardware.com, at Design Hardware and Flooring on the socials, or in the real world, 6053 West 3rd Street in Los Angeles. Thank you, Ruslan, Roshi, Richard, Andre, Joe, Eric, Buzz. Wow. This was so much fun. I absolutely love this. Thank you all for taking the time. Thank you to CEDIA. Thank you to everyone who participated in CEDIA Expo and CIX. Thank you to Emerald Exhibitions for the invitation and allowing me to come out and do this. Thank you to Volkswagen for providing that ID.Buzz. What an extraordinary vehicle. I don't think I've ever recorded the show in such absolute comfort before. It was amazing. So thank you for that. And again, thank you to everyone at Emerald and CEDIA for allowing me to come out and have these conversations. Simply amazing. Absolutely extraordinary. Thank you to all of you for listening and taking the time to spend. My hope is that by bringing you out to CEDIA Expo, CIX, the events we go to, and hearing from integrators, designers, architects, brand manufacturers, partners, that you get a new feel for some of the things that are out there right now, this emerging tech and the way that qualified designers are applying it and the way that integrators are including it. Just extraordinary. So thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much again for engaging with the show. And I'd love for you to keep that conversation going. Instagram at Convo By Design with an X. Keep those emails coming. Convo By Design at outlook.com with guest suggestions, show suggestions, and where you might want to see the show broadcasting from in the future. Thank you to my partner sponsors, TimberTech, the AZEC Company, Pacific Sales, Best Buy, Loam AI, and Design Hardware. These companies support the shelter industry, so please give them an opportunity on your next project. Thanks again for listening. Until next time, be well, stay focused, and rise above the chaos.